The bigger picture. Today on Behind the Book, we're going to find out from Danny Ho of Scarab Digital about all things digital technology in the film realm. Let's jump in. Welcome to Behind the Book, where I am your guide, Heather Andrews, unraveling the captivating stories from behind the pages. Join me as I sit down with authors from the literary landscape to delve into challenges, inspirations, and untold tales that breathe life into their written worlds. The bigger picture. Today on Behind the Book, I have Danny Ho of Scarab Digital with me, and we're going to talk about, really, things are about the bigger picture. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Excellent. So when you wrote in the chapter, your chapter about In Culture Revolution, which, by the way, was a best-selling book on Amazon. So how did that make you feel?
Oh, fantastic! Of course. I mean, the whole team. It all came together, and it's so great to hear that people. It resonates for people.
Absolutely.
We wrote it for the people.
Yeah,
so.
we did. Yes, we did write it for the people. It was very unique perspectives, and everybody was saying that they were concerned if their topic would overlap somebody. But the way we laid everything out in the book, it was like one just hinged on top of the other, and that's what made it very, very unique and special and different. And it's not just one out of one sector. It was out of business owners to corporate, gone to business owners, and then other people who were still in their corporate world. Mm-hmm. And so you've got some perspectives on all sorts of ends there. So it's all good. So in the previous episode, we talked a little bit about all of the things that your company has done and all the bigger projects that they had been a part of in the film industry. What is next for you?
Well, for me, it's a bit of, so there's a few layers there. I think some of it is on the personal side. I would say, growing. We talked about it a bit in the previous episode where there's a legacy that I'd like to grow, and it's not to retire. It's just I know what my specific skill stack is, based on the strengths and such. And there's other opportunities I'd like to pursue, other business endeavors, I guess, if so to speak. And I'd like to apply my skill stack to other opportunities. Fostering a company for 25 years, I'd like to see how my skill stack would apply to others. You can kind of equate it to say real estate. So real estate has, your classic strategy, say, this is from an investment perspective. Mm-hmm. So there's like a buy, fix, and sell, mm-hmm. right? And then there's a buy and hold, and then there's actually there's a ton of others, but mm-hmm. You get the idea. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to explore how do my strengths apply to a business sense. So, for example, maybe there's an underperforming company, and I can actually apply my skill stack to that and mm-hmm. add value, mm-hmm. and see where I can grow that opportunity. Mm-hmm. So it is. So I guess part of the challenge in the growth is how do I grow the company so it stands on its own legs, mm-hmm. And then again to be able to pursue other opportunities in the future. In the company itself, it's it's about finding rounding the team and, mm-hmm. and pursuing the other opportunities within the industry itself. For example. There's 2 new divisions that we're sort of opening up, and we've. I think so far it's looking really good.
Excellent. So, that's good. That's good. It's exciting.
Market adoption is another thing. I think we're ahead of the curve for sure, and they're complicated endeavors. So one of them is related to something called car process, mm-hmm. which is basically. For all intents and purposes, it's like your classic Seinfeld episode where you see 2 people sitting in a car and you can totally tell they're not actually really driving, right? They're doing the fake driving thing. So the endeavor is to do that at a high professional level where you cannot tell they're fake driving.
Yeah.
But it just sounds there's things in scripts where you might either perceive it dangerous or it's just efficient. So when you go to shoot a car driving in a movie, it takes up a lot of resources. There's the vehicle that has to tow the car.
Yeah.
There's the sort of police lockup that you need. You have to close down the road, or a specific rhythm that you have to drive a specific, like you narrow down this road that you want to shoot on. And so there's a lot of logistics that revolve around that. And then, you know, as you know, in the movie, you take after take.
Yeah.
And so to do a reset on a full driving scenario, it's a lot of wasted time.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more efficient to shoot that in a studio where you can have multiple scenes in a controlled environment. But the challenge is you need the immersiveness. It has to look like they are actually driving. So the service entails, like I talked about, us servicing screens. So you would basically using either LED wall or projection. The classic was projection, but now LED wall is being much more prevalent, and it's in the sort of the cost range, right on the cusp of being utilized in the film to be able to use as a backdrop.
Right.
So that instead of green screen, you're using LED wall. And then so there's another layer of that called, that's step one. The second layer to that is something called virtual production, which is basically adoption of using game engines. You know, you have your classic first-person shooter kind of thing, and you can imagine when you're watching your kids, they're playing this thing. It looks highly photoreal, right? It's very immersive. So it's using that same technology to, instead of using green screen, you would use a video wall with that game engine producing the environment that you want, looking quite photoreal, and you're matching your physical camera to the virtual camera. Oh. And you make it look like a seamless backdrop, so that it's fully interactive. Wherever the camera's moving, the backdrop moves with you. So all the physics of all the parallax and all the lens correlation, it all sort of matches, and it looks seamless. So instead of a green screen, you could do it live.
Right.
So these are two sort of new endeavors that are under our umbrella, and so it's
very technology advanced.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's definitely a complicated endeavor.
Absolutely. I love hearing more about your company. So thank you for sharing all of that, because it sounds fascinating. And with that, having pause with that and writing in the Culture Revolution book and implementing your culture, what was the biggest takeaway for you, and how do you see that book helping you move forward?
Well, so there's, remember, I'm still in it, and I'm still learning, and I'm still applying. So, one of the things I talk about in the book is referencing GGOB, great game of business. And so I think that is a huge advantage in those that are open to taking this kind of approach, in terms of sharing the financials and educating your teams to understand how the business works. Why do we make the decisions we do, and why do we spend the money we do? And once they kind of understand under the hood a bit about the entrepreneur side of things and how they directly affect the bottom line, and then therefore how much more profit can we make by their own decisions, can actually put more money in their pocket via a gain share program. So once they understand what is the threshold that we need to survive at, this means how much money you need to put away for, say, either just pure savings for like what if scenarios. Our industry has encountered two major disruptions that, black swans is what I call them. One is COVID pandemic, And another one is this massive strike. We had a strike that lasted over 6 months, which is the longest. Is the
That was the
longest
writer's strike.
strike? Yeah, right. Well, writers and actors,
Oh.
they combined at the same time. So it made for in fact, I would say the strike was worse than COVID, because
Right.
COVID, the film industry overcame it. They came up with new structure and ways to work around it, and came up with protocols to actually operate as a functioning company during COVID.
Right.
So they were able to mitigate the precautions. But yeah, the writer strike and the actor strike were complete showstoppers.
Yeah.
So, for the team to understand how to come together to move forward, and you imagine in the future of all things, once you open up the numbers and you start to see possible inefficiencies, or your employee might have the next best idea about how we can capitalize on something that you might not have seen because they're at front line, right?
Yeah.
And so once you kind of get the business mentality sort of thinking in that same alignment, basically, right? I think you can just open up so many doors.
Beautiful. I love that. Thank you so much for just sharing all your wisdom and your knowledge, and
Absolutely.
just being a part of Culture Revolution, because your chapter really is superb with all of its knowledge and wisdom and
Thank you.
expertise and your unique perspective. So thank you so much for being a part of it. Where can people find you on social media?
That's on the website. So we have scarabdigital.com, and you can also find us on social media in LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram, Scarab Digital.
You heard it here today with Danny Ho from Scarab Digital about the bigger picture. And it really encompasses expertise from starting out as a young man in video to really taking hold of a niche in technology and where he's going next, and embracing the world of becoming a published author. Make sure you check out on Amazon Culture Revolution, and make sure you get your copy. Until next time, we'll see you on Behind the Book. It's been a literary voyage here on Behind the Book. My sincerest thanks to our featured authors for letting us peek behind the curtain. I'm Heather Andrews, urging you to keep exploring the vast universe of literature. Until our next chapter, happy reading.